Bitcoin has been around for 11 years, but we really, really, really are at the very beginning of that next generation.
The Innovation Edge, 21st century startups and world-changing ideas. It is the mark of an educated mind to entertain a thought without accepting it. Let's take a look at the seed stage ideas of tomorrow, today. Moderated by Darren Parkin, Coinrivet. Federico Tai, Takamaka.io. Ali Kassab, Centurion Co. Wasim Ahmad, Vault 12.
Which makes me an expert in telling stories. It doesn't make me an expert in cryptocurrency and blockchain. I'm just extremely interested in that, and I get to tell the stories. I also get invited to moderate at panels quite a lot because of that journalistic background, which puts me in a glorious position that I can just sit here, act dumb, and ask lots of stupid questions and get some extremely intelligent people to answer those questions. So I've got no pressure, I've got the easy bit. So please, gentlemen, if you would mind taking your seats, and we shall begin. Now, while they're getting comfortable, if there is an opportunity, I'd like to see if we can have a bit of time at the end for some questions from the audience. Now, if you do have a question, you get the opportunity to ask it. Please bear in mind we're on a tight slot here, so keep the questions as brief as possible. We've all been to those conferences, haven't we, where someone puts their hand up, microphone goes over to them, and they just go on for about 5 minutes, and you lose the bloody will to live. So brevity is your friend here, as I will be also. So we shall begin. So blockchain, as we know it, it delivers some very solid foundational principles which allow us to do things that simply weren't possible before. And I think the switch from centralized to decentralized is an ever-present there, isn't it? So, Wasim, I'm going to let you begin here, if I may. And so, how does this affect innovation?
Well, it's great to be here. I'm Chief Crypto Officer of a little startup called Vault 12 that we launched last week. And I think this is a central, pardon the pun, this is a central idea around blockchain. The notion that you can build systems that are completely decentralized, there's no servers involved. And what that does to innovation happens when there are constraints, and not having a centralized system is a constraint. There's all kinds of things that you're not allowed to do anymore. You can't store profiles of people. You have to think how you're going to do that. It affects usability. It affects all kinds of aspects of product design. But ultimately, it gives you a product that's way more resilient in a way that you've not really seen before. We designed our company, or we designed our platform in a way that if the company went away, it would carry on working, it could carry on making money, carry on operating. And that is only possible in a non-centralized or decentralized way.
Okay. Now, quite often we will see cases, won't we, where very large companies face huge difficulties turning an innovation into a profitable product. Is this something that startups could be playing a role in?
Absolutely.
How?
I mean, I think that startups are out there to find opportunities that larger companies have ignored, that the market's ignored, and figuring out a way to build a solution, take it to market. And then ultimately, the big challenge is once all the technology is done, product is out, is how can you make money? How can you make it profitable? How can you make it so that people are jumping onto the product or jumping onto the platform? So I mean, that's a central driver behind startups, behind entrepreneurship. And blockchain is the newest opportunity. We've had a lot of innovations around AI, around data mining. Blockchain is a big thing. Hopefully in the future we'll see the synergy between quantum and blockchain and AI. But these are all places that large companies are doing primary research in, but startups have to find real solutions that can make some money, and then hopefully larger companies can jump on that and make it even bigger.
Yeah. Ali, where do you see startups as their role in that?
Okay, let's say startup are good because they are building the ecosystem around blockchain, so they are pushing innovation. So they are the one who are basically pushing boundaries to bring and experiment new things on blockchain, which is itself still under construction, because like you said in the beginning, we are coming to a decentralized network, which means we are also decentralizing power and decentralizing decisions, decentralizing privacy and everything. So blockchain require a lot of investment to build a stable and sustainable model that can serve community and the humanity. So of course, startup contribution are important, but we should not start with the application side immediately. I think there are a lot of things to be built on the ideology itself, on the blockchain ecosystem itself, that need to be agreed, fixed, then we can go down to applications. The problem...
I'm seeing some people nodding their heads, actually, as you were saying that, so that's obviously hit a note there.
It is? I know them? Okay, maybe. So, but this is, I mean, important to mention, because if you want sustainability for the blockchain and continuity and protect it, we should also mention that cryptocurrency is only one application of the blockchain ecosystem. And because it is threatening the sovereignty of governments and in financial institutions, it's today badly perceived. It's not, it's giving a bad image of the blockchain somehow. I mean, there are 100 of use cases around blockchain that can benefit to governance, to democracy, to transparency and trust. This is what we would like to benefit out of the blockchain itself. So, of course, startups are important, but let's, build their correct foundation, then we can start. Maybe we need a huge impact fund that invests into blockchain infrastructure itself and build the whole foundation that is required for the blockchain without giving the power and the control to a centralized entity or organization.
Yeah, you mentioned there, you just allude to the fact there that there are hundreds and hundreds of potential use cases for blockchain. So one thing that people do talk about is the accessibility to get things over the line. So are there barriers, do you think, which prevent enterprises from experimenting with blockchain solutions? And what are those barriers, Federico?
Yeah, so in my opinion, today we stand in a particular moment in which we have on the side a community of very brilliant, talented developers with a very deep technical expertise that they know very well, basically how blockchain works and how to develop a solution based on blockchain protocols. On the other side, we have the world of larger enterprises that normally work with their own process with a totally different logic. In my opinion, in this moment, the adoption of blockchain-based solution on behalf of large corporations is still going very slow, especially because this community of developers has still not understood how large corporation works, how innovation in large corporation is performed. So we have the responsibility to fill up this gap, to bring together those two separate worlds. We don't have to forget that innovation is a process. It's an iterative process between who has a problem and who can provide a solution. On the side of our community of blockchain developers, they might have a solution, but they don't know which is the problem. On the other side, we have the business people that they are very aware of the problem they have, but they are not aware that by experimenting on blockchain technology, they might find a better solutions. Yeah. So we have the responsibility to bridge those two worlds together. How, basically, we have to provide to enterprises an infrastructure on which they can launch and iterate the proof of concept very quickly, very efficiently, with security, safety, and at a lower cost. So, for example, the company I'm working with, Takamaka.io, in this moment has exactly this mission, to provide to large enterprises a platform on which to experiment a proof of concept very, very quickly.
Okay. Now, just thinking about what the three things you've all just said there, it actually touches on something that is very, very close to my heart. And obviously, part of my day-to-day job is to act as the go-between between us and them, yeah? The people in the outside world who don't yet know what all this is about. And we've got a room here and a whole conference full of brilliant and intelligent people with marvelous, they know marvelous things about cryptocurrency and blockchain. But the one criticism that I think we can all of us, hold up against ourselves is that all those brilliant and intelligent people, we're a bit shit at getting the average person in the street to understand what the hell we're talking about, don't we? And how can we do that? How can we get more people to understand what this is about and get them to engage in a simple way?
So I think I know that blockchain has been around, or Bitcoin has been around for 11 years, but we really, really, really are at the very beginning of that next generation. Only now, like the end of this year, are we starting to see the first apps, the first platforms ready so that developers can build. And until ordinary consumers can touch an app that isn't to do with trading, are people going to start to sort of internalize, oh, that's what I'm getting from blockchain? And there still needs to be communication around, the benefits. But the apps are not out there yet. We're just starting to see them. I think next year is going to be full of all of that going out into the real world.
Federico, I saw you were keen to join in there.
Yeah, that's actually a very complex topic, actually. But in my opinion, in order to solve this issue, we have to work across different, let's say, different directions. One of them, for sure, is education. Nowadays, in universities, there are still let's say, university departments of computer science, there are still not enough courses dedicated to blockchain. This is on the side. A lot of work has still to have done in the direction of communication. I mean, basically, in my opinion, we have to better find a way to fine-tune our messages to innovation managers that are working, for example, for large corporations, for accelerator. And for sure, we have to decrease the work on the technical side in order to decrease the complexity of blockchain solutions, in order to give accessibility to any developers, the possibility to basically build up a solution based on blockchain technologies.
Yeah. Ali, I'll put the same question to you, but as I'm doing that, I'm very mindful. I'm going to look at what's written here behind us. How do we get people who aren't us out there to have that in their mind?
So we need to bring everybody together. It's like, I think government need to play an important role. We need to bring experts, leaders, and also investment funds to invest into a sustainable structure that
to
can
invest in more startups.
No. To invest into issuing
structure, right.
Policy, rules, make it supported and comprehensive to large communities. This is why we created the Global Blockchain Organization as well in Oslo, where I'm the Secretary General. And the role is to bring on the same table government bodies, investment funds, policymakers, enterprise blockchain, education, academies, to issue common understandable rules to serve blockchain and make it more make the adoption more large and wider, and of course remove any misunderstanding that can be around blockchain, make it more user and customer friendly as well. Because today there's a lot of things that blockchain is disrupting on the back end, not only on the front end. Operation cost reduction, paperless, fraud fighting, crime fighting. There are a lot of benefits that will be generated out of the adoption of blockchain for governments and for enterprises and for financial institutions. So we need to help this large community to start getting the best practices of what Malta is doing, Estonia is doing, etc., and then start spreading this. This is a lot of long-term effort, but a journey of 1,000 miles starts with a single step. So yeah,
a journey of 1,000 miles starts with a single step. I love that. Now, I don't know if anyone's noticed, but in a very clandestine way, I keep glancing at my watch, aware that we might be running out of time. I'm so bloody blind. I've only just noticed these enormous screens here with the time on. So we've got 2 minutes left. And if anyone does have a question, if you want to just show us your hand, and we can address a question from the audience, perhaps. Anyone? I can't actually see for the lights. No? Okay, no problem. So, I did have another one, actually. So, incentivizing the community to work and therefore gain some reward from that is a principle that comes straight out of blockchain. So, how does that perhaps bring about innovation to a new generation of apps? 1 minute, 30 seconds. Who's going to have that?
Okay. Well, I think the notion of rewards is a great addition to sort of some of the tools that developers and entrepreneurs have. So designing systems where you can rope in your community to do stuff and then be rewarded for it, and designing the systems of how those rewards work, how that creates engagement, how that creates customer acquisition, and transactions on whatever platform it is that you're doing. I think that's a really important goal. It's something that I think entrepreneurs who come from the gaming world have excelled at, and now we're going to start seeing them in consumer apps, and hopefully one day also in enterprise apps that utilize blockchain. So it's something that entrepreneurs need to think about.
Cool. Federico, Ali, anything to say on that?
I mean, the concept of blockchain is a peer-to-peer transaction. The beauty, the creativity that has been done in many applications is to reward users if they are using the tokenized object or asset, which is an amazing concept, and this is how it should, this is how this business model is built. So, yeah, of course, I think, and maybe a lot of things can be built on the same concept, like voting, rewarding citizens who are voting, rewarding people who are generating renewable energy, etc. So yeah, of course, this is something that should be in the core vision and mission of blockchain.
Yeah. And on that bombshell, the seconds have dripped away. But I think we can all take away something that you said there, that a journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. It's been an absolute pleasure to be in the company of such great minds. Thank you very much. So, Wasim, Federico, and Ali, thank you very much indeed.